you'd have 20 or 30 around the state, and the amount of contamination that they would be causing would be monumental. And it would be on a scale that you would see in the United States, in places like Wyoming and Colorado, and increasingly on the East Coast, where a process called shale gas, it's a different type of technology, but the same sort of problems emerge. Enormous contamination of aquifers, contamination of surface water, public health issues, and so on. And those communities are destroyed communities. So we've got the third thing, apart from coal and UCG, is coal seam gas. Now, coal seam gas is a process where you drill down into the coal seam, the Walloon coal measures they're called. They're a level of the Great Artesian Basin. They're actually water, it's usually fairly briny water. They drill down into there, and there's methane mixed with the water. In order to get the methane out, they have to take the water as well. They also use a process called hydraulic fracturing, or fracking. And what that is they send down an explosive into the coal seam and into the rock surrounding it, and they explode down there. They set up these explosions. They shoot sand and water and a whole cocktail of chemicals, which they will not tell us about. They won't tell us what's in there, but we know there's a significant amount of carcinogens and other pollutants, the like of which you are seeing here now. And they will go into those aquifers, but also the huge amounts of water which are being drawn out of the coal measures. Huge amounts of water, over 100 times the volume of Sydney Harbour over the period of time that they will be there. 100 Sydney Harbours of water will be brought to the surface with all the salt that comes with it. And what that will cause is a depressurisation of that particular level of the Great Artesian Basin. The water in the Great Artesian Basin is in there under pressure. If you've got a level of low pressure and you've got other levels of high pressure, you will get into aquifer transfers. You'll get, there is connectivity. We don't know how much. Neither do the companies. Nobody's really sure what the level of interconnectivity is. There will be interconnectivity. The water levels will drop. Farmers will lose their bores, and towns will lose their supplies, their water supplies. About 23 towns across the Surat Basin are dependent on bore water for their town supply. So between coal seam gas and coal and UCG, assuming that they all go ahead, and it's a pretty safe assumption to believe that a government of Queensland will go ahead, because whichever major party's in power, they don't say no to mining companies, never have. So if these projects go ahead, then what we're looking at in the more settled and more productive parts of the state is the industrialisation of this part of the world. Industrialisation of it. There will no longer be rural industry and rural communities. They will be industrial communities. And the land will be predominantly industrial in nature. And we could even see the disappearance of much of the water, and certainly quite a bit of the land, which is the basis of the productivity of our region. Now, I think that would be a tragedy. I mean, I'm an environmentalist, have been most of my adult life, and campaigned time and time again on various issues. And if I have to make a choice between who do I believe are the better land managers of our beautiful state, who do I want to see managing this land, looking after it? Is it the mining industry, or is it the farming community and rural residents? Then I'll choose the latter every time. These are the people who can look after the land. The mining industry has shown that it is arrogant, it is out of touch, and it is completely unwilling to exercise proper environmental management of its sites and to restrict its off-site impacts. It has a history of that, and it will continue to operate like that, regardless. So, where do we go from here then? I would suggest to you that you've obviously got to mount a campaign in your area, and that is happening now, and this meeting here tonight is just wonderful. That so many people are prepared to turn out, hear what's going on and take action on the basis of it. But you're part of a bigger thing that's happening here. You're part of a regional attempt to maintain the rural emphasis of life west of the Great Dividing Range. Are we going to stay a rural community with farming as the main occupation, or we're going to allow this to be turned into an industrial wasteland? That is not over-the-top rhetoric on my part. That is what's going to happen. So I believe that you need to work with all the other action groups that are right across this area. There's about 15 or 20 just in this part of the world alone. They're communities just like yours who are having the same sorts of challenges being imposed upon them, and governments which are just as unwilling to listen to them and to take some sort of remedial action. What I'm trying to do is make sure that a coalition develops, a coalition of interests develop over the next few weeks. And that coalition should involve environmentalists like myself, and I've been actively making sure that people in the city know all about these issues. They know about coal, they know about UCG, they know about CSG. And a movement is developing in the city in solidarity with people in the country to protect your farms and your lifestyle. But we need to have a broader coalition than that. It's not just the farmers and the environmentalists and rural communities. I'm wanting to get the churches involved. They've got constituents out here in rural areas, and communities are in peril. They need to be defending them. I want the primary producer organisations involved. I want all the rural action groups involved. And I want the local councils involved, because they're the ones who are right at the coalface, so to speak, of this particular struggle, and they need to protect their communities. Let's put that coalition together, give it a really strong voice, and say to the government of Queensland and the government of Australia, the federal government, that there's something really important that needs to be defended here. It is a whole way of life that we need to defend, as well as those great natural resource and environmental icons like the Great Artesian Basin, which are in peril. I hope you accept that particular perspective, because if we don't turn this around, if we don't force the government and the mining companies to adhere to certain basic principles of environmental management and good neighbourliness, and if we don't say to the government there are certain technologies which, if they can't prove their worth, need to be scrapped altogether, regardless of whatever political power they might be able to marshal. If we can't do that, then I'm afraid we're going to lose something really precious. I think we can, and I think the cost of not being able to do that is too great to even contemplate. Thank you.